The Champions League just started and we've already have some history being made. Let's get into it. First and foremost, we got to start by saying Juventus is officially back. Not only are they back in Europe, but they are back in the sense of they are looking like what Juventus is. And I cannot be more happy because I feel like when Juventus is good, world football is good. Today, they beat PSV 3-1, much like I predicted yesterday. Although yesterday I did predict a 2-0 win to Juventus, and they have not lost an official game under brand new coach Thiago Motta, and they got off to a hot start. Yildiz scores the first goal in the 21st minute with an absolute wonder strike. I mean, this kid is so impressive. Left winger out of Turkey, only 19 years of age, and honestly, we probably should have predicted him scoring in his Champions League debut. Why? He scored in his first start in the Serie A. He scored in the first start in the Coppa Italia, and he has now scored in his first start in the Champions League. He also became the youngest Juve player ever to score a goal in the Champions League, overtaking Del Piero. But what's even more beautiful about this whole situation is that they both play for Juventus. They both wear the number 10, and after Yildiz scored, he did the same exact celebration that Del Piero did when he scored. I can honestly not be more excited to see this guy play. And then can we talk about the U.S. men's national team? Because if you watched yesterday's video, I talked about how I wanted Pepe to get some time for PSV. I wanted to see Pepe score. But we need to talk about Weston McKennie, because the amount of disrespect that Weston McKennie gets at Juventus is actually unreal. He's coming off a season where he had double-digit assists, but it seems like every year he just does not find a way to stay in that lineup, to get into that lineup, and I just don't get it. He had not started a game all year. He only got 23 minutes in one game so far out of Juve's 4 games in the Serie A. It was against Roma. It was a 0-0 draw, but today gets the start and then scores in the 27th minute, and I cannot be more happy, not only for the U.S. men's national team, but for Weston McKennie. I've always been a big fan of him in the midfield. This is the fourth different Champions League season that he has scored in, second most for an American, just behind Christian Pulisic, who obviously plays here in a little bit. The games are about to kick off, and he's obviously going to try to make it 7. He scored in 6. And it was just an absolute poacher's goal. Right place, right time. I really rate Weston McKennie. I think that this is great for the U.S. men's national team, but he needs to be starting in that midfield. Like, I'm sorry, Thiago Motta. I'm sorry, Juventus. Why do we keep overlooking this guy? But there was 4 U.S. men's national team who saw the pitch today. Obviously, he and Tillman started for PSV, and then Weah and Pepe came off of the bench. 2 Americans for each. I love seeing Americans thriving in Europe. And then we have Nico Gonzalez, who got the 3rd goal for Juventus, making it 3-0. He's obviously on loan from Fiorentina. And after assisting Yildiz, he gets his own goal. So a goal and an assist for Nico Gonzalez, which gets him a man of the match performance. And honestly, with Di Maria retiring, I think that this guy could be the future winger for the Argentinian national team, obviously in conjunction or in pairing with Garnacho. I think Nico Gonzalez is an absolute baller. Scores on his weak foot. He was one-on-one with the keeper, so not super difficult, but also still got to score it. He goes out there, scores it after getting that assist. And then PSV would come back late, 93rd minute, get a nice little consolation goal from Ismail Saibari. He obviously had scored last year against Sevilla in the Champions League as well, so I believe it's his 2nd ever Champions League goal. And that goal, honestly, at the end of the day, at the end of all of these games, could end up being the decider on whether they go through, whether they don't go through. So a little bit of positivity for PSV there. Juve have Napoli at the weekend, which is obviously going to be a super important game. So we'll see if Thiago Motta can keep this streak up of never losing. And let's see if Weston McKennie can keep himself on this starting 11. Let me know down in the comments if I'm just a delusional U.S. men's national team fan, but I think McKennie is an absolute baller. And then we have to move over to Switzerland, as Aston Villa also made history today, playing in their first ever Champions League. And they would do so in some great fashion. But real quick, I saw this on Twitter, and it's actually wild to think about. Basically 6 years ago to the day, I think it was like 6 years ago in 2 days or something like that, Aston Villa scored a 90th minute free kick goal to secure a draw versus Blackburn in the championship. I can't even imagine what lifelong Villa fans are feeling from watching their team suffering in the championship, needing a last-minute goal against a Blackburn team just to get a tie, to now being in the Champions League. This is what soccer or football is all about. But today they would not need any late game dramatics. They would not need any free kick because they actually scored 5 goals. 2 would end up being getting ruled off by VAR, but they scored in the 27th minute a goal from Tielemans. The first ever Aston Villa goal in a Champions League belongs to Tielemans, and it was assisted by McGinn. Obviously, 2 of the key pieces here for Aston Villa, the reason that they're no longer in the championship. So honestly, could not be more deserving. First assist by McGinn, first goal by Tielemans. Shout out to those guys. Jacob Ramsey will then score in the 38th. They would get another one before the half, but it would be ruled off by VAR. In the 78th minute, Duran would keep on going with a great strike outside the box, low driven right into the corner of the goal, but again, would also get ruled off by VAR. But then they would eventually get the third by Amadou Onana, assisted by Tielemans. So a goal and an assist got Nico Gonzalez the man of the match. A goal and an assist here gets Tielemans man of the match as well. And while everything seems perfect for Aston Villa, seems like a great night, a great way to introduce yourself to the Champions League, Ollie Watkins seems like he could have re-injured that ankle. He was kind of nursing it on the sideline after being subbed off. He had an ice pack on it. And honestly, Villa just could not seem to stay healthy this year. Obviously, yesterday's video, we talked about all of the injuries that they had coming into this game. And now losing Watkins would be obviously a massive, massive loss. But the way that Duran is playing, honestly, I think that Villa could just keep on going. I'm sure that the fans are just as confident in Duran now, especially recently, as they are in Ollie Watkins. So hope Ollie Watkins can come back soon. But if not, I'm sure Duran will be able to fill his spot there. Yesterday, I did say 3-1 Villa, so probably the closer prediction of the two here in the early on games. But there would be no consolation goal for Young Boys. They would lose 3-0 at home. Very tough there for Young Boys. Aston Villa, on the other hand, they've got Wolves at the weekend, so we'll see whether or not Watkins will be back. Now, the second round or the second window, the late window of Champions League games are about to start, but I just wanted to come on here, talk about everything that happened in the first. I'm going to come back after these games are done to cover the second round of games here, so make sure to come back for that one. If you haven't done so yet, make sure to like, comment, subscribe. Weston McKennie, Juventus, stop disrespecting him. I'll be back in a bit.